think we are live.
Yeah.
Live on the page?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. This is all learning. Amanda is, as Brené Brown would say, is being vulnerable right now. I'm just going to mute everybody here. So mute Gabrielle. We're going to unmute the fabulous Sinead so we can chat.
Thank you.
So let's just check Facebook. This is where the real learning happens. It's in and the growing happens. My stomach is absolutely doing flips here, as this is the first time We Can and We Will Talk has gone live online. Actually, two firsts. We're gone live and we're online. So two firsts, one go. Woohoo! Go us, go us. So you're very welcome. I'm just going to check my phone here so I can see. Those of you who are joining us live on Zoom, we have the chat there, so you can chat there and we'll do some questions and answers at the end. But this is perfect. So I am going to try now and remember how to put the spotlight on Sinead. So we're going to make Sinead the spotlight and everybody else is up the top. Okay. So how I can't remember now how the camera goes back and forward.
I think, does it not go when you speak that it goes on to you, and then when I speak?
It probably does. It probably does. So let's go with that. Actually, it's not now. Hang on.
No.
Cancel spotlight video. Okay, I cannot see what we're doing. Anyway, we'll get going. We'll get going.
Yeah, there you are.
Okay,
You are.
Now?
Yeah, it's working.
Perfect. Perfect. There's Sinead. Excellent. So let's get going. Let's get going. So welcome to the first We Can and We Will Talk online and on Zoom. So you can either join us in the Zoom where we can have chats afterwards, or you're watching us live on Facebook, which is fantastic. So I got chatting with some of my amazing clients last week, and in the times that we find ourselves in at the moment, which is uncertainty, there's a lot of fear around, let's just call out the elephant in the room, a lot of panic, anxiety, and just that uncertainty of what ifs and, you know, what's the worst case scenario, etc., etc. So we were just talking about courage. And I know from working with my clients that they have come through incredible challenges in their health, in their personal life, in their business life. And what we hope to do this week is to show light at the end of a tunnel, which there is light at the end of, you know, most tunnels. So in bringing We Can and We Will live, we hope to share stories to inspire and show courage through stories. Our stories can make us, break us, but most importantly, they connect us as human beings. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my first guest, who is the fabulous Sinead Dee. I have heard Sinead speak and I know some of her story, but it is absolutely fabulous. Wait, I just mute everybody again. Okay, so mute. I'll have to figure out how to mute everybody as they come on. So I can't see. Is Sinead there now? Anyway,
I'm here.
Keep going.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
So so Sinead, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Sinead. Sinead has been coming to We Can and We Will for 2 years. She's been in my VIP group from the beginning, which is nearly 7-8 months now. And I've had the privilege of working with Sinead, and I'm going to hand it over to her now so she can tell you her own story. So welcome, Sinead, and thank you for joining me today.
Thanks a million, Amanda. So I was trying to pick a story today, I guess, that most of us could relate to. And because of this virus that we have around, that is every single time you put on the radio, people are talking about it, it's everywhere. So I'm going to just talk about a story of an experience that I had, and then I guess where I came out the other side, and maybe things that I did that you might find useful in your life. So when I was on dialysis, I was on for about, I was on for 6.5 years altogether, but in the 6th year, I suppose an event happened, because life goes on, even though, you know, you may have a health issue and a significant health issue, but there's the rest of life going on as well. And I had, I guess, an emotional trauma 6 months before my transplant. And what that does, which is why it's so important to keep your, you know, your mental and emotional health that's the most important thing for you to look after right now, as well as physical distancing. You have got to stay in the right mindset, because what happened to me is my immune system completely crashed. It left me vulnerable then to getting infection, and boy, did I get a massive infection. So on the Friday, what happened was I got a raised temperature and I felt a little bit unwell. I was dialyzing at home at the time, and it's so important, you know, when you, it was important for me to dialyze every day. For me, that was what was going to keep me as well as I could be at the end of this, when I had the transplant. And I didn't know where the end was. And this is what's, I guess, going on for people right now. I'm going to take one of my bracelets off because it's rattling. So you don't know when this is going to be over. So what you have to do is to do all the things, all the advice that we've been giving, so that when you come out the other end, you've gained new skills and you've created new habits, or you maybe do a course or something like that. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off topic. So I got the temperature on the Friday night and I thought, oh God, it's Friday, I don't feel very well, but sure, I can dialyze, I'll be fine. I'll take some paracetamol. Don't need to contact the hospital.
Sorry, Sinead, just for people who don't know you. So
Okay.
prior to needing dialysis and having this health challenge, what was your day-to-day life? What was your work? What were you doing?
I was a practice nurse and I worked in East Wall in a really busy inner city practice. I absolutely love my job. I also did acupuncture while I was a practice nurse. So that was, I guess, when I started doing Chinese medicine, because in Western medicine, it doesn't, as we know right now, it doesn't have the solutions for every health issue that's out there. So that was kind of, I guess, when I expanded my knowledge and I expanded my outlook and things like that.
And then what happened? Then the health challenge kicked in.
Then the health challenge kicked in, and I stayed working initially, but I just was too sick. I mean, I was literally throwing up in between patients. That was kind of how bad things were getting. And I mean, I'm so stubborn, which can be your worst enemy, but also you have to be very, you have to be very motivated and very driven, and you have to keep, I know how important it is to keep my head right. But I was responsible for all the people that were coming in. So I can't be showing up and not fully showing up for people. I knew I was getting sicker. They were telling me in the hospital. So there came a point and I had to give up work. So that's what happened.
You're giving up work and you're so close to having this transplant, but you're not minding yourself. Emotions.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of happened quite early on, because before you go on dialysis, you really get quite sick. So, you're like sick, you're throwing up everything, nothing goes through your body, you lose loads of weight, you just feel awful. You feel, it's like having, for want of a better analogy, the worst hangover of your life. You just want to die. That's how bad you feel, except obviously I didn't. And that was it was at that point I went on dialysis. So I gave up work before I started dialysis. And then once you're on dialysis, you begin to feel better and your energy returns. And I dialyzed every 3 days initially in the hospital. And then I got a part-time job and I was working as a phlebotomy nurse. So, and that was fantastic. So important to stay busy when there are, when there's other issues going on in your life.
Okay, so there's a key point in that for people right now, is that, there is stuff going on, there's change happening. You're saying keep focused, stay
my God,
something to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. And as an individual, so everyone in the house should, I know the kids are getting schoolwork and stuff like that, but we all need to have something, because you need to do separate things. You need to have something to talk about, even. So for me, it was whatever you're interested in. It doesn't really matter what you do. For me, I just love health. I mean, it just fascinates me. I think human beings are incredible. The physical, the mental, the emotional, they all work together. And I suppose you can almost observe yourself and you see the things that help you. And then you watch the people around you. Always focus on the positive people. If you're beside somebody, you're talking to someone on the phone, if someone is draining your energy, you gotta go. You just gotta say, really sorry, gotta go right now.
It's just to go back then to your story. So 6 months prior to having your transplant.
Yeah. Okay.
Or just prior to that, what happened?
So so started to feel unwell, got a temperature, and I thought I'll take paracetamol, it'll be okay, it'll be fine. also, it was Friday, and I thought, I am not going into the hospital. I knew my consultant was away. He was lecturing in the States. And I thought, I am not going in to junior doctors on Friday. I'd be lying on a bed, really stupid thinking. But that's what I did at that time.
Okay.
Like ridiculous thinking. I do not advise this at all, because it's so unfair on the healthcare workers. Yeah, what I did do was, now it wasn't my fault that I got the infection. There was nothing that I did, you know, but it was so foolish not to consider other people. You know, and there were people who were close to me, and they're watching this, and I'm going, I am not going into that hospital. You know, ridiculous.
Yeah, we all know people like that. We all know parents, you know, people set in their ways. And
Yeah.
when it comes to the crunch, it's like, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. So
Yeah.
what happened? You did go to the hospital.
Well, what happened was we called the doctor on call, came out on the Saturday night, and he didn't recognize how bad the infection was. He gave me antiemetics. He left. Actually took 5 hours for him to come. He left, and I kept throwing up after the antiemetics. So got to Sunday, and I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go in. It was Monday morning, actually. My sister and Michael actually literally carried me into the car. I didn't realize how sick I was. I didn't look in the mirror until Sunday night, I would say, and I was the size of a house. I was swollen out to here. When I think about it, I suppose I had such a high temperature, so it was kind of going up and down. I then wasn't able to dialyze. I was so dehydrated. The vessels weren't big enough, because you have to put the needles into these vessels. So it was pretty awful. I mean, I felt like I was dying. I really did at that point. A lot of it is a bit blank, because I don't remember a lot of it. My temperature was so high by the time I went in. They literally met me at the doors, got me in, and checked to see, you know, what infection I had, started me on antibiotics straight away. And I just remember, and I just, you know, for people who are thinking, you know, oh, this, you know, this is okay, I'll be okay, I won't get this condition. What you're going to put other people under. I will never forget the pain. If somebody had said, okay, Sinead, right now, you can die if you want right now, or you can stay, I would have just said, okay, that's it. I'm out of here. Enough, enough, enough. It was just unbelievable. And I kept asking for more painkillers, and there's only so much that they can give. And I felt like I was being ignored. And believe me, it is not a good space to be in. It is not a good space to put anyone else in. It was not a good space. I put the health professionals in by not going sooner, and for them to, you know, for them to start treating me sooner and catching the infection. Now that may or may not have happened. That, you know, the other doctor didn't pick it up. So that's it. You know, that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I got incredible treatment. I started on IV antibiotics, and I suppose one of the doctors he was so annoyed with me. He sat down at the end of the bed and said, you know, you nearly died, and we had X, Y, and Z number of people that died from this. Have you, you know, he pretty much lectured me.
And that's you as a nurse. So
oh yeah, no, I know.
You should know better. You should know better.
Probably the worst are healthcare workers, you know, and you think you know better. I mean, talk about stupid, but anyway.
So what has happened? What happened after that? You got your dialysis.
Yeah. So I said, okay, that's let me out of here. I don't want to get any other infection. The irony. But anyway, so I went home and did IV antibiotics on myself for the following 6 weeks. I was so lucky that I could do that. I was so lucky that, you know, I wasn't a risk to others. So anyway, so yeah, but I went home, and then you start thinking about this stuff, and then the fear kicks in, and you think, oh my God, am I going to die? It's bizarre how this thing works its way through your system. And I couldn't, I was like frozen, and I knew I was frozen. I wasn't doing the things I would normally do. I just felt like I couldn't do anything. And I was getting so annoyed at myself, like almost like, you know, looking at another person who's like, oh, I don't know. I know I should do something. And I would just like, get up off your ass, you know, get out there and do something about this, and just get unstuck. Because if I had stayed as that person, that's where I'd be now. You know, ridiculous. What and one life. You have one life. I mean, it's such an incredible opportunity. There's once you're breathing, you can do stuff. You know, there's
how did you go from Sinead stuck
Yeah.
Okay, right, I've come, I didn't die, I've got the treatment I need, and here I am now, and I've got another chance. But that's all great in hindsight. But when you were so stuck and not being able to move forward, what was the first step that you took to be able to change that mindset, change the story you're telling yourself, and actually move into something more positive and do something?
Well, what happened was I was having a conversation with my older sister, Siobhan, and she said that she had been to a Reiki practitioner who's also Buddhist and does a lot of mindset stuff. And she said, well, how about trying that? I mean, I knew Western medicine didn't have a solution to this.
Yeah.
I knew, like, this wasn't a mental health, it wasn't a mental health problem. It was just a stuckness problem. You know, there's not that many. So anyway, I said, okay, I'll go and see her. And just see what happens. You know, I think it's probably all a bit woo-woo, but hey ho, I can't stay where I am now. So I would have tried anything. So I went to see her, and I had one session with her, and I came out of the session thinking, okay, I actually feel like maybe I'm going a bit bonkers at this point. The session was incredible. I don't know what she did. I don't know how she did it, but there was a shift. And she gave me this brilliant exercise. I did it on a video the other day, a mental exercise that you go and you meet the fear, and you give fear a name, or you make it a person, and you have a conversation with it, and basically you tell it to leave. Get out of my life, I don't want you. And anytime the thought comes into your head, I do this with people all the time now. It can be, different people use different things. It could be a random object, or it could be something you can throw away, or someone you can have a conversation with. And just every time the thought comes into your head, you just flick that switch, and it's like, no, you know, I want to get on with my life. Go away. You're really interrupting it. Let me move on.
But so it's like that. We won't let other people do that to us, but we allow these, you know, these unseen fears, anxieties, whatever, take control and not take our power back. So you find just calling it out, just giving it a name, and then speaking to it.
Absolutely. I mean, it was irrational. It was irrational letting, because fear is only a thought. Yeah. That's all it is. It's nothing else. No. It does have a physiological effect on your body, and that's not good for your health. That is going to make you sick. So, you know, you have to find a way to, it's mindset. It's all about mindset. If this is okay, the rest of you has a much better chance of being okay. And even if the rest of you goes a bit wrong, this is what's going to fight it. This is what's going to move you on. That's my absolute belief. I don't care about any kind of,
even in business. I always say your business is not out there in the world. Your business is between your two ears. Yeah. If this is right, everything else will be right.
Absolutely. And I think, Amanda, when you know that yourself, when it's, you know, it's like it's in my bones, I know this is true. Yeah. So when I'm working with people, like when you're working with people and we're having conversations, and I can hear the talk, you know, the conversations they're having with themselves that we don't even realize, this kind of negative self-talk that you're having. So, and it is something you need to constantly work on all the time.
Oh, yeah, come here. It's like feeding. It's food. You have to eat daily. You have to drink your water daily. This is the same. I work on my mindset daily. So what happened then when you began to get unstuck?
So, well, actually, I was studying nutrition at the time. I think I was in second year. It was a 3-year course, but anyway. And so I just went back in there, meet up with friends. Okay, which we can't do at the moment, but we can chat to people on FaceTime and stuff like that. Education to me is hugely important. I just love it. It's like, for me, it's like food. It's, you know, just keep my mind thinking, keep my mind going. I think it's really important that, you know, that we don't that you're open to new ideas, that you're in, I suppose in an educated way, that I look at new information, you look at it in a much better way, you have much better understanding, but again, you have to keep working at that. Yeah. So, I mean, it gave me so many opportunities. Like, if I hadn't been sick, or if I hadn't gotten sick, I would never have had the opportunity to do all these courses. I mean, in some ways, I'm not glad I got sick. I don't want anyone to get sick, but it opened my life up to something, you know, to what I do now. It grows, and you become much more confident in yourself, And what it very much does is, your value on life is just, your life is just so precious, And no matter how tough it is, how, excuse my French, but how shit things are at times, because they can be, how much pressure you feel like you're under, it will come to an end. It's like yin and yang. You know, what goes up must come down, what goes down must come up. And actually, you bounce back much quicker than it takes you to fall down. So I think that that's really important for us to remember as well, because at the moment we don't know when the end is going to be. But my God, if you keep your mind busy, you are going to bounce back. And just surrounding yourself, like I love We Can and We Will. You know, there's so many positive-minded people there, and so many with stories of courage. I suppose kind of what happened to me, I don't see that as courage. It's kind of like you just get on with it. It's your life, you know, and you're presented with challenges, and you just go and you meet the challenge, you know, or you sit there and it gets bigger and bigger and the issues become bigger and bigger until you finally have to meet that challenge.
But the thing about the courage is as well, you know, I do see it as courage, because I see a lot of people that are faced with face-on stuckness, or, you know, they will not have the courage to overcome, to go into that uncertainty, to go visit that person, to pick up the phone, to take advice and actually take action on it. That the, you know, the fear, they don't have that boldness, that courage to say, okay, I'm going to try it. So I always see, you know, and I was just listening to Brené Brown this morning, and she's like, that stage where you say, yes, I'm going to do it. And then when you go into that first step with your knees knocking and your heart racing, and you don't know what, like, as you said, there's a lot of woohoo and all this is this fluffy stuff, and this is airy fairy, and, you know, and a lot of people don't have the courage to actually say, well, do you know what? I don't care what it is, I'm going to try it. That's the part I see courageousness. And out of courage and action comes, you know, the light and the better opportunities and everything else. But it takes courage, I believe, to take that initial step and to step out into the unknown, or to step into the unknown.
Yeah. And the more you do it, actually, but you see, I believe everybody has that. It's just that they haven't met the right challenge for them yet. I think that, I suppose the people that we meet are the people who are on that, I know I need to do something, but I just feel stuck right now. I don't know which way to go. Somebody tell me which way to go. Yeah. And those people, when you're in that position and you want to work with somebody, that is the perfect time to work, you know, because you give it your 100% then when you know you have got to do something to change your life, to make it better. And then the more you do it, the easier it gets. So yeah, like you say about your knees knocking, but you know, your knees are still going to knock, you know. It's, you know, fear is very much a part of life. And it's like Gabrielle, who's part of We Can and We Will, and I love what she says, you know, you do it with the fear. Yeah. You know, it's, so yes, it's there, but like, go away, but you still do it with the fear. And I think she's right. I think that's exactly what's right. And like, look what you're doing with the knees knocking.
I know, Zoom lives and everything. It's fantastic. But what is it? Tell people who don't know, what is it you do now?
Okay, so what I do now is I work mostly with women between the ages, I guess, of 30 to 50. And with herbal medicine, I work with fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, or people, sometimes it's fatigue, anxiety, depression. And that can be with physical pain or without physical pain. I work with everyone when it comes to pain with acupuncture. But with herbal medicine, I work one-on-one. I do herbal programs with people. So what we do is we do mindset work. I use nutrition. We change, the diet always changes. And then I support that change with herbal medicine. It just makes that transition so much easier. And the reason that I work the way I work now is because I went over and I did some apprenticeships with a guy called Bob Doan in the States. And I saw in his clinic, he's got, I think 120 people a day that come through his clinic. And I saw the impact that I'd never seen before that herbal medicine could have for people. And it's so different. Like Western medicine is amazing when you break your leg or you've got an acute situation. But Chinese medicine and herbal medicine for chronic issues, it's just incredible when you see people and they come in and just the body posture And then, you know, gradually they're coming in and they're lighter and they're happier in themselves and they feel stronger in themselves and they feel more able for decision and their courage grows. Absolutely. And it's in the space of 5 months, just the difference. And it's not me doing it. You know, I'm supporting people in that for sure. But the person, and that's what I love about it. It's about empowering people and not holding on to them after 5 months. You know, it's about empowering people, and then they go on and they just live their lives how they should be living, and you know, fully, with courage and knowing it. And like you say, actually, and living bold. You know, just go for it.
I can hear and feel the passion coming from you when you're talking about the herbs and the medicine. And I know, look, I've been drinking aloe vera for 10 years with phenomenal benefits on my immune system, my digestive system, and Ian the same. So I know and I understand and I get it. But
that's just one herb.
Exactly, that's just one. And the components in that, nature gave us everything we needed. And this is where I think we need to get back to this. Nature has provided for us, but somewhere along the way we lost track of that, and it became the other way around. Too much of one, and you know what I mean. But it's there, it's in the ground. We have it there. So I'm going to open it up for people here. If anybody wants to ask Sinead some questions, so if you want to raise your hand, I see we've a few people on here. There's Nicola wants to ask you a question, so I'm just going to unmute Nicola. Go ahead there, Miss Byrne.
Good afternoon, all you gorgeous, colourful people.
You're very welcome.
Sinead, if you could give some advice to your younger self, having all of the wealth of medical information that you knew back then and still didn't make the right choices for you, what advice would you give to yourself back then with the knowledge and the confidence that you have right now?
Wow, okay. You knew you'd get me. We're down there. Okay, so what I would be saying to a younger version of myself is believe in yourself. You are exactly what you need. You have what you need. Just get out there and live, and share you know, share everything you have with everyone. You know, don't let anyone out, and judgment. It's don't judge other people. You know, that is huge. Because in judging other people, you're judging yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't have to be. It's not necessarily. You know, not everybody's going to love me, and you know, you're not going to get on with everybody in the world. But yeah, you know, just do it. You know, don't stop thinking, stop spending so much time up there, and feel more what you're doing. You know, this is what it's about. It's about, you know, when what you're doing feels right. And sorry, love yourself. Not in an egotistical kind of a way, but just love yourself. You know, accept yourself. Yeah, that's it, kind of, really.
Can I ask you another question?
You can. Yes.
Did you, like, looking back now with, you know, the extra brightness that we all have at this age in comparison to back then, do you think that you were operating from a space of, I don't deserve to be taken care of properly?
I think I was operating from a space of, I'm a bit broken. And I was diagnosed with a childhood illness at 12. And so from then, I felt a bit different. Do you know what I mean? That's what now, I don't think that anybody made me feel that way, but it was made feel like, oh, we have to look after you, or don't do this and don't do that. I grew up in a space of fear. So you pick up on that, and you learn behaviors, and then you begin to believe that you're not enough, or not that I'm not. I suppose at the time, am I worth it? I thought everybody else was more important than me. I definitely thought that.
There you go.
And and that's probably part of the reason why I loved nursing. You could mind everyone.
Yeah, the caregiver.
Yeah. But you could also, you know, it was perfect then. You didn't have, you know, you could ignore yourself because I'm doing all this fabulous stuff with everybody else.
So love from your saucer is very important for you now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think I was very lucky, even as a student nurse, with a lot of the people that I that I met. There was one particular woman who was one of the tutors, and she also did aromatherapy and massage and stuff like that. And I think probably she began to show me a different side of life. And the irony of that is, at the age of 19, she said to me, Sinead, you should become a Chinese doctor.
Wow.
Imagine. And I've looked her up and I can't find her. Her name was Carol, and I can't remember her surname. And I thought at the time, I'm not bright enough to do that. I couldn't do. Yeah, I did. I know I didn't have self-belief for sure. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Sinead.
Thanks, Nicola. Great questions. Great questions. Will I just mute Nicola again? Is there anybody else there who has questions? Just trying to look up here. Can't see everybody on the video. Did I see someone's hand there? I'm just flicking them across. Siobhan, have you got a question? Were you waving your hand? No. No. Very hard to see when they're all little tiny pictures. Which are.
How many people are there? I can only see 4.
There is loads. There's millions. There's 10 on the Zoom. There's 7 on Facebook Live.
Excellent.
So lots of people getting advice. So Sinead, I know you are planning at the moment, you are putting a workshop together to educate people about using herbs. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
A lot of what I'm going to do in the workshop as well will be mindset. There, I could do a workshop on herbs, but there's gazillions of herbs, and herbs. One herb will do one thing, but like in the formulas that I give people, there's at least 50 herbs in it. It's very small quantities, and then they all work together in synchronicity. It would be impossible for me to do that. But what I can talk about is, how the herbs work and the effect that they have on people. I can talk about the impact that stress has on people's physiology. I can talk about the effect that anxiety will have on your physiology. And I suppose talk about how your physiology creates that fatigue in you, or how your mental emotions, I'm using ridiculous words, your physical, mental and emotional health, they can all create fatigue. And so I can talk about maybe what's affecting the different people in that room, and they can understand it a little bit more, which gives them more choices, so that they can then go out and do something about it. So they're the kinds of things that I can talk to people about. I love
it. It goes back to when we know why and we know how, we're more educated and understanding of what we have control of. And I suppose that's the word I'm looking for. I understand it now, and now I can look for the solution. When we are oblivious to what's going on and what's causing stuff, it's very hard to even think about solution, never mind look for solution, because as you said, back then it was, I am the victim here, I'm broken. I don't know what I'm looking for, so therefore I stay stuck. Whereas a workshop where it's, educating and helping us to understand how this is working, we can then make choices and have choices again of what we can do as for solutions.
Absolutely. But I think as well, just to mention that, it wasn't just then that I did work on myself. I started doing work on myself from I guess 19, 20, that age onwards. So it's something that I have constantly gone back to. People can go for counseling, or they can go, and do a ton of workshops and think, oh, that's it, I'm grand now, I'm sorted. No, you're not. I'm not. It just because you're perfect exactly the way you are doesn't mean that you don't have to continue to do work on yourself.
Oh, there's many layers to the flipping onions. I'm learning. Every year is a new year for me, and every dawn is a new dawn. We get to a certain level of something, but there's always another level, and it's interesting, fascinating, and absolutely mind-blowing, and very what's the word I'm looking for? Very empowering to work on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I've worked with you, I've worked with Nicola, and that has made such a huge difference in terms of me personally and in terms of my business. And then all the really positive, optimistic people, but real people that are part of VIP and We Can and We Will. It just it just makes such a difference. So find something for yourself. Find something like this. I mean, it doesn't have, you know, I'm not necessarily saying it has to be this, but for God's sake, find something and don't stay stuck. And I'm going to stop talking now because I'm waffling.
No, it's been fantastic. And you know what? This is the same advice that I'm giving to my 13-year-old. It's easy to say no to things. I was on a rant at this a few weeks ago. We can all say no, 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 and not even try. If you're unsure or you don't even know where to start somewhere. Try something. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. It's not going to be your passion maybe, but try it and keep trying until you find your people and you find what's for you. But not looking, you're going to stay stuck.
Not looking is not living.
Yeah, and not asking. You know, we have a beautiful thing in We Can and We Will, and you know, there's offers there for people to help. And I'm going to address this as well. I see, oh, I'm not asking. Oh, what are they thinking? Or is this real? I don't know whether it's an Irish thing or not. When people are offering to help, say yes. Say yes. And people love to help. We all love to help people. So say yes. Put your pride in your pocket. Get out there and look. Put your courage on, your pride in your pocket, and go out there and, you know, seek and you will find, folks. And I'm going to leave it there. Seek and you will find the answers. Seek and you will find the people. Seek and you will find the opportunities. Seek and you will find what you're interested in. So never stop seeking.
Absolutely. Listen to Amanda.
Well, we're going to leave it there. So thank you to everybody who joined us on Zoom. Thank you to everybody who joined us live. This has been a fabulous event, our first one. Tomorrow we have another lady. We have Siobhan McGovern, and she is coming on tomorrow to share her story at 1 o'clock too. So join us then. I'll have the link up later on, and we look forward to doing many of these this week. So we have 5 incredible stories coming to you this week, and I have more stuff planned in the online virtual space, all being launched this evening or early tomorrow. So watch this space. Exciting times ahead. So thank you again, Sinead. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Amanda. Thank you so much.
And sharing your story and your knowledge. So if anybody wanted to connect with you, Sinead, how can they get in touch with you?
So I have a website, or actually my Facebook is probably the easiest thing, and it's Sinead Dee on the Pulse, because I do pulse diagnosis. So yeah, so SINEADD, there's 2 Ds on that pulse. Simple.
Yeah, or Sinead Dee, or find her through me. If you can't find her out there, connect with me and I'll introduce you as well. So thanks again. Thanks everybody. Bye till tomorrow. See you then. Bye.